Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today's video, we're going to start collecting Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and today we're taking a look at the Stampeding Squigalanche Battleforce box that's coming out this Christmas for the Gloomspite Gits. Now, in this video, we're going to go through, talk about the contents of the box set and what we can use all the models for in it. We'll then take a look at some other units we can use to expand upon after this initial purchase. Finally, we'll finish off the video with a little sample army list of 1,000 points for you to use as some inspiration for starting your own Gloomspite Gits army using the Stampeding Squigalanche as its core. Now to start off with, first of all, we get a Loon Boss on Giant Cave Squig. This is the smaller squig character you can see in the back row there. 6 wounds, 4 up save, and 2d6 movement. Now you've got the massive fang-filled gob with 4 attacks, 4 3s, round 1, damage d3, and a bunch of extra attacks from the rider as well. You've got the red cap mushrooms, where once per battle in your hero phase you can say this model is eating a red cap mushroom. If you do so, you can reroll all hit and wound rolls for the Moon Cutter or Moon Stabber until your next hero phase. You've also got the Let's Get Bouncing command ability, where you can use with this model, where if you do so, you pick a friendly model with this command, and all friendly squig units within 12 inches of that model at the start can you make an extra 3-inch movement. So this is a really cool piece to have in your force for your squigs. It's going to give you some extra movement to really help with that random movement you have across the army. Now we then have the 2 Mangler Squigs. These can also be built as Loon Bosses on Mangler Squigs as well. Now, the Loon Boss on Mangler Squig is 12 wounds with a 4-up save. It has access, obviously, to take artifacts and command traits if it is your general. You've got the Balls and Chains, which will have 7 attacks, 3 3s, rend 2, damage d3, and its huge fang-filled gobs will have 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, rend 1, damage d6. Then got a bunch of extra attacks coming off the rest of the grots there. Now, the Curse Splat rule allows you to add 1 for hit rolls for attacks made with its ball and chains if it made a charge move in the same turn. It's got the red cap mushrooms as well. The Watch Out rule, where if this model is slain, it can do some mortal wounds before it's removed from play. And Bite the Moon is his command ability, where you can use this command ability at the start of the combat phase. If you do so, you pick a friendly model with this command. In that combat phase, you add 1 to wound rolls for that model and any friendly squig units while they're wholly within 18 inch of the model. Now, you could go with the regular Mangler Squig. It has a lot of the same abilities and a lot of the same damage profile. Really, the big difference between the two is the access to artifacts and commands, and also those few extra grot-mounted attacks from the leader, which are generally a little bit better than the average rider. Now, looking into battle line options, we have Squig Herd. Squig Herd are a really fun unit to bring to the table. Now, you're going to get 12 Squig Herd in this box set. They've got 2 wounds apiece and a 6-up save. So there's actually 24 wounds in that unit there, which is not too bad. They've got a bunch of different attacks, but their big thing is the Squigs Go Wild, where roll the dice each time a model from this unit is removed from play. On a 4+, the nearest other unit within 6 inches of the fleeing model suffers a mortal wound. It does say other, so that includes any friendly grot units as well. It'll go and eat your own grots. They're really fun as some nice little kamikaze units. Now, the last unit we have here is the Squig Hoppers, which can also be built as Boingrot Bounders. Though, when grabbing this box set, I certainly recommend building the Squig Hoppers instead. Squig Hoppers come in a unit of 10, Boingrots come in units of 5. So you could build 2 units of 5 Boingrots, but you would leave yourself light on battle line units. So definitely building these Squig Hoppers, I think, is the right move to make at the start. Now, Squig Hoppers are fun. They've got their nice random movement like all the other Squigs. They've got the fang-filled gob with the Squigs, which is 2 attacks, 4 3s, round 1, damage 1, and another attack that's really nothing of note from the slitter on the mount on the rider. The Boing 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 rule allows you to do mortal wounds, where every time this unit has made a normal move, run, or retreat, you pick an enemy unit and roll a dice for each one on this unit that passed across that unit, because they do count as having fly. For each 4+, the unit suffers a mortal wound, so they can be really fun to use. They don't actually need to get in combat to deal damage. Now, looking at other units to bring in, obviously we just talked about Boingrot Bounders. They are certainly another option, but let's look at some of the other alternate things we can bring in with grots. Shooters and stabbers, I think, are an interesting thing to bring in. First of all, this is just going to give you really good amounts of bodies. These are both generally cheap units of grots on the table, and they have cool things called netters in them, which actually will allow the models in the units to make your opponent -1 to hit against them, so helping them survive. 60 grots can be pretty survivable on the table. Now, Rockgut Troggos are certainly another option you can look at. This is a much more heavy hitter unit, definitely something that's doing really well at the moment. The unit has a good armor save and a 5-up ward save after. They've got 2 attacks each, 3s, rend 1, damage 3 each, which is really nice. Some good, solid, heavy hitting and damage dealing pieces that are also quite survivable and can work really well as an anvil unit for your Gloomspite Gits. The last model I want to talk about, though, is Scragger of the Loon King. For me, I think he's almost essential for any Grot army at the moment with how your Allegiance ability is working. So the Allegiance ability for the Grots, he actually moves over the course of the game, so he can control the moon. Your Allegiance ability moves the bad moon across the table. Scragger once per game can choose how that moves if he's your general. This does mean when he's your general, you're going to need to include particular units to fulfill battle line requirements, which is hence why I've got shooters and stabbers in here as well. He's also a wizard that can cast 2 and unbind 2 with +1 to cast, unbind, and dispel, which is really nice. His 4+ roll at the start of each turn can potentially give you D3 extra command points. And he's got a really cool rule with the Bad Moon on the stick, where if he ever causes a wound to a model with the Bad Moon on the stick, it'll take a wound at the end of every battle round from then on. Effectively, your opponent is turning into a mushroom. Now, the Loon King's crown will allow him also not only to get those bonuses to cast, dispel, and unbind, but it'll get a 4+ save on wounds and mortal wounds. His cool spell is Nick It, where it can actually stop your opponent's artifacts from working if he rolls high enough on the casting value. For me, it's just his ability to control that moon once per game that I think makes him essential when you start playing in larger point games. And so here we have our sample army list. Now we're going to play in a subfaction called the Jaws of Mork. This you can find the rules for in Broken Realms Kragnos, or they are free at current on the Age of Sigmar app. Now we get a couple of cool extra battle traits for playing in the Jaws of Mork. First of all, running riot, we can reroll the dice that determines the move characteristic for friendly Jaws of Mork squig units. This can be really good. In addition, when we're combining this with the fact we've got that giant cave squig there for the +3. And then we've got some Get Some Loonshine down on them, where you can use this particular command ability, which is for the subfaction. If you do so, pick a friendly Jaws of Mork Mangler Squig model. Till the end of the phase, you use the top row of the model's damage table, regardless of how many wounds it's taken. Now, our general here is going to be a Loon Boss on Mangler Squig. We've got the command trait Sneaky Stabber, which is going to allow us to reroll wound rolls. And then because we're playing in the subfaction, we do have to take our first artifact as the Ciari Screamer Squig, which though we pick a enemy unit within 3 inches of us at the start of the combat phase, and we get +1 to hit that unit. So we're +1 to hit with the potential to also get +1 to wound from our command ability and reroll wounds as well. It can be pretty lethal. We have a second Loon Boss on Mangler Squig. Like I said, we had the spare points. There wasn't enough points to fit anything else in, so it was worth just upgrading that secondary Mangler to another Loon Boss. That's giving him access to heroic actions like Heroic Recovery, keeping them alive longer, potentially another Finest Hour, giving them more punch. So it's worth paying those extra points if you've got them there to make them a Loon Boss. We then have the Loon Boss with Giant Cave Squig, like I said, important for that +3 move. And then battle line-wise, we have 10 Squig Hoppers, 12 Squig Herd, most of it wrapped up in a battle regiment bar the second Loon Boss. But 965 out of 1,000, definitely getting that Triumph 9 times out of 10. Bloodthirsty is what we've gone with for the Triumph for a reroll to wound. And a grand strategy, take what's theirs, more units of ours in our opponent's territory than they have. It's pretty good for an army that's pretty fast moving when it wants to be. 74 wounds, 2 drops. If you've got some idea for your own Squigalanche box set, let us know down in the comments below. And so that's the end of the video. We hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And while you're at it, why don't you drop a comment down below letting us know what you enjoyed about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our little community here at Sinful Gaming, you can do so by joining our Discord server, which is linked down in the video's description. Also linked down in the video's description are the best ways to help support the channel, which is our Patreon and YouTube members. As Patreon and YouTube members, you'll get to help decide what content the channel focuses on when we're not focusing on new releases, and you'll also get your name shouted out at the end of the video. So a special thanks to all our Patreons: Christian Weir, Soren, Kenny Lyle, Alderan Shopfirst, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Q Dynamic, Anthony B, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cader, Bloobs, Benjamin Suarez, Red Martin, Aaron DeHaven, and Kevin Bowman. And to our YouTube members as well, Green Roots Gaming, Kenton Young, Ronya, Lock, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Man Killer, Monty's Tabletop Terrain, John Castle, Davis Weir, and James South. Lastly, if you'd also like to help support the channel in another way, you can do so by grabbing some channel merch off either our Teespring store or off our Ko-fi store, both of which, as well as the Patreon and YouTube members, are linked in the video's description. Once again, thank you all for watching. Stay safe, everyone. Stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.